There are moments in life when everything seems to move slowly. Time can feel like it's standing still. You pray, you work, you strive, you wait, and yet nothing seems to change. You look around and wonder, when will it be my turn? You see others celebrating milestones, breakthroughs, promotions, marriages, healing, and open doors while you're still in the hallway, still knocking, still hoping, still believing. And it's in those long, quiet seasons that we start to wonder if God is still writing our story, or if somehow we've been skipped in the process of destiny. But I've come to tell you something today. God is about to do in days what should have taken years. We serve a God who isn't bound by time. While we operate in minutes and months, he works in moments and miracles. What you think should take a decade can happen in a day when God steps in. What you assumed would be a slow climb can turn into a sudden lift. We get so accustomed to the process that we forget about the power. Yes, there's value in the waiting, and yes, there's purpose in the journey, but never forget that God is not limited by the systems of men or the schedules of this world. He doesn't need approval from your past to bless your future. He doesn't need your resume to qualify you for a calling. When he's ready to move, no force in hell, no delay, no doubt, no enemy can stop what he has ordained. You may have been waiting years for restoration in your family, healing in your body, clarity in your purpose, or increase in your finances. You may have carried the weight of disappointment, the silence of unanswered prayers, the weariness of believing for what hasn't yet come. But I want you to hear me clearly. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it isn't about to. Just because it's been hard doesn't mean it won't be holy. Just because it's taken time doesn't mean it won't turn around suddenly. When God decides to accelerate a thing, he redeems the time. He will make up for what you lost, and he will do it in a way that only he can. Swiftly, completely, and undeniably. The Bible is filled with stories of sudden shifts. In one moment, Joseph was a prisoner, forgotten, overlooked, betrayed. In the next, he was standing in front of Pharaoh, appointed second in command over all of Egypt. It didn't make sense. It defied logic, but it was divine. What should have taken years of working his way through the ranks happened in a day, because when favor finds you, it skips the line. When destiny calls, it doesn't need permission from your past, and the same God who did it for Joseph can do it for you. Think about the woman with the issue of blood. She suffered for 12 long years, spending everything she had trying to get better. But in one moment, one touch, everything changed. 12 years of pain were reversed in a second of contact with Jesus. That's the kind of breakthrough I'm talking about. That's the kind of shift that's possible when God steps into your situation. He is not confined by your timeline. He is not restricted by what doctors say, what the economy reports, or what statistics predict. One encounter, one word, one act of faith, and everything can change. Some of you have been building, sowing, praying, preparing, and it seems like there's no movement. But I came to tell you today, don't stop now. Don't let the enemy convince you that your waiting was wasted. Don't let your current view make you doubt your promised destination. God has seen every sacrifice. He has counted every tear. He has measured every delay, and he is a just God. He is a faithful God. He's the God who can restore what the locusts have eaten, who can repay the years that felt lost. And he's about to show you that it wasn't for nothing. What you thought was the end was just the pause before the miracle. When God moves, he doesn't just do enough. He does more than enough. He multiplies. He overflows. He surprises. He exceeds. Remember the wedding at Cana? They ran out of wine. An embarrassing, shameful moment for the hosts. But Jesus turned water into wine, and not just any wine, the best wine. He didn't just fill their need, he elevated their experience. And I believe he's about to do the same for you. Some of you have been stuck in cycles. You've been trapped in patterns of lack, of fear, of insecurity, of failure. But get ready. The cycle is about to break. The season is about to shift. What's been repeating is about to be replaced. The doors that have been shut are about to swing open. The answers that have been delayed are about to be delivered. And it won't be by your striving. It won't be because you figured everything out. It will be because of God's divine hand, his perfect timing, his supernatural acceleration. It's important that you prepare your heart for this shift. Because when God moves quickly, it can feel overwhelming if you're not ready. Get your mind in alignment. Shake off the fear, loosen the grip of doubt, expect the unexpected, pray bold prayers, make room in your life, because what's coming is going to require space, trust, and a new level of obedience. Some of you have been praying for increase, but you're still thinking small. You've been asking for miracles, but living in survival mode. You've been hoping for open doors, but still clinging to what's familiar. It's time to rise up in faith. It's time to act like the breakthrough is already here. You see, when God is about to move, he often tests our posture. He looks at how we wait. Are we waiting with bitterness or with expectation? Are we still praising in the middle? Are we still speaking life when we don't see results? Are we still honoring him even when we're hurting? Because sudden moves often come to those who stayed faithful in the slow seasons. Divine acceleration finds those who didn't give up when nothing made sense. If you're still standing, still believing, still hoping, then you're a candidate for what's about to happen. I can feel it in my spirit. Something is shifting. The tide is turning. What was hard is about to become easy. What was delayed is about to be delivered. What was blocked is about to flow. And it's not because you earned it. It's because he promised it. He said he would do exceedingly abundantly above all you could ask or think. He said that no eye has seen, no ear has heard what he has prepared for those who love him. That means your best days are not behind you. Your story is not finished. Your breakthrough is not past due. It's right on schedule. And though it may not look like it, though it may feel like everything is standing still, in the invisible, God is orchestrating something incredible. He's lining up connections. He's unlocking opportunities. He's softening hearts. He's moving pieces into place. And in just a moment, in a matter of days, everything can shift. You won't have time to figure it out. You won't have time to adjust. You'll just have to walk through the door when it opens. You'll just have to step into the blessing when it falls. And when it happens, it will be clear that it wasn't you, it wasn't luck, it wasn't chance, it was the hand of God. And all you'll be able to say is, look what the Lord has done. So if you're tired, keep going. If you're discouraged, lift your head. If you're wondering when it will happen, hold on a little longer. The promise still stands. The vision is still valid. The delay was not denial. It was preparation. It was positioning. And now the atmosphere is shifting. The wind is blowing. The Spirit is moving. Get ready, because God is about to do in days what should take years. And when he does it, it will be quick. It will be unusual. It will be undeniable. People who saw you struggling will see you soaring. People who counted you out will watch you rise. You won't need to explain it. You won't need to justify it. The fruit will speak for itself. The glory will point to him. And your life will become a testimony of what's possible when heaven touches earth. I don't know what you're believing for. I don't know what has felt stuck, broken, or out of reach. But I do know this. The wait is almost over. The night is almost done. The rain is about to fall. The doors are about to open. And the kind of acceleration that only God can bring, the kind that breaks every rule, overrides every system, and fulfills every promise, is on the way. So stand still. Be faithful. Stay expectant. Because the God who split the Red Sea, who fed the 5,000, who raised the dead, is about to show up in your life in a way you've never seen before. And when he does, everything will change, not over years, not gradually, but suddenly. And all you'll be able to do is worship, weep, and say, only God could have done this. God is not bound by time. He is not restricted by clocks, calendars, or deadlines. While we count days, months, and years, he operates outside of time itself. Time was created for us, not for him. That means the limitations we often place on what can happen and when it can happen do not apply to him. What seems impossible within your human timeline is entirely possible within God's divine schedule. We often say things like, maybe in a few years, or this kind of breakthrough takes time. Because we are used to processes. We are used to waiting rooms, development stages, and gradual steps forward. But God doesn't need a decade to bless you. He doesn't need 5 years to heal you. He can do it in a moment. This truth is often hard to grasp because we live in a world that functions on measurable time. We set goals by quarters. We track progress yearly. We define success by milestones. But when God steps into your situation, He doesn't look at how long it's been. He doesn't assess how far behind you feel or how much time you think you've lost. He sees purpose, preparation, and potential. And when the time is right in His eyes, He can move instantly. There's moments when God collapses time. What would normally unfold over the course of several years can be completed in just days, even hours. And when that happens, it's not rushed, it's not incomplete, it's divine. It's exactly how He designed it to be. We must remember that God exists in eternity. He sees the end from the beginning. He is not just watching your life unfold. He has already written the story. He knows exactly when to introduce the right people, open the right doors, release the right provision, and shift the right circumstances. And when your heart and His will align, time becomes irrelevant. That's why you should never give up just because it's taking too long. What feels like a delay on your calendar might be a setup in God's plan. He may be preparing something bigger than you expected, something that couldn't have been ready if He had given it to you earlier. Think of Abraham and Sarah. In human terms, it was far too late for them to have a child. The years had passed, their bodies had aged, logic said it was over, but God stepped in and time bowed to His will. What was biologically impossible became a divine reality. Not because time was on their side, but because God was. His promise was never tied to their age. His power didn't diminish with passing decades. He did exactly what He said He would do, and He did it when the time was right, according to His divine purpose, not their human schedule. This is the same God who promises to restore the years the locusts have eaten. That means He can give you in 1 year what you lost in 10. He can restore opportunities you thought were gone, relationships you thought were ruined, dreams you thought had expired. His grace makes up the difference. His favor accelerates what would take years in human strength. And when He does it, you will look back and say, only God could have done that so quickly, so perfectly, and so completely. So don't be discouraged by the calendar. Don't measure your progress by the standards of this world. What others achieve in 10 years, you might walk into in a week, not because of who you are, but because of who God is. Stay faithful, stay expectant, stay ready, because when God decides it's time, no barrier, no delay, no enemy can stop Him. He is not late, He is not early, He is always right on time, His time. And when His timing collides with your obedience, miracles happen. Not in years, not even in months, sometimes in just a matter of days. Divine acceleration is real. It is not just a hopeful idea or a comforting thought. It is a powerful truth demonstrated time and again throughout history, especially in the Bible. There are countless stories where God moved suddenly and miraculously, turning what seemed like years of hardship and struggle into moments of overwhelming victory. This kind of acceleration doesn't follow human logic or the natural order. It defies expectations and rewrites the rules of what we consider possible. One of the most compelling examples of divine acceleration is the story of Joseph. For years, Joseph endured betrayal by his own brothers, being sold into slavery, falsely accused, and imprisoned. If you looked at his life from a human perspective, you might have assumed his story was one of tragedy and defeat. But then, in a single moment, everything changed. Pharaoh had a dream that no one could interpret, and Joseph was suddenly called from prison to stand before the king. In that moment, all the years of suffering were reversed, and Joseph was elevated to the second highest position in Egypt. What should have taken decades of climbing the ladder, networking, or waiting for an opportunity happened instantly because of God's divine intervention. This teaches us that no matter how long you have struggled, no matter how many closed doors you faced, God can shift your situation quickly. He can take you from the pit to the palace, from rejection to promotion, from despair to hope in what feels like the blink of an eye. The years you spent waiting are not wasted. They are the preparation for the moment when God moves in power to change everything. Another powerful example is the woman with the issue of blood. She suffered for 12 years, spending all she had on doctors who could not heal her. She was weakened, isolated, and desperate. But then, when she simply touched the hem of Jesus' garment, her healing was instantaneous. In that one moment, 12 years of pain and struggle were erased. This miracle was not just about physical healing, but about the sudden reversal of a long season of suffering. It reminds us that God's power is not gradual or limited. It is immediate and transformative. These biblical stories are not just historical accounts. They are spiritual promises for us today. The same God who moved swiftly for Joseph and healed the woman with the issue of blood is the same God who can move in your life. Your breakthrough can come suddenly when you least expect it but most need it. Divine acceleration means God can take years of struggle and condense them into days or hours. He can flip your situation completely on its head in an instant. This divine acceleration happens when God's timing and purpose align perfectly. It often comes after a period of waiting, testing, or preparation, but the moment it arrives, it breaks through every obstacle. It shatters limitations and brings about results that no human effort could produce. This is why faith and perseverance are essential. You must hold on to the promise even when you don't see immediate change. You must trust that God is working behind the scenes, setting the stage for your sudden breakthrough. Divine acceleration also teaches us about the nature of God's grace. Grace is not only about forgiveness, but about favor and empowerment. When God accelerates your destiny, He gives you favor that propels you beyond your circumstances. He provides opportunities that seem impossible to earn. He opens doors that no one can close. This favor is supernatural and cannot be explained by natural means. It's a gift that flows from His love and faithfulness toward you. Many people miss out on this divine acceleration because they limit God to human expectations. They expect progress to be slow, steady, and predictable. But God is a God of surprises. He delights in showing up when we think all hope is lost and turning things around in ways we never imagined. When you embrace this truth, you can stop trying to force things to happen on your schedule. You can rest in the knowledge that God's timing is perfect and that He can move faster than you ever dreamed possible. It's important to understand that divine acceleration doesn't mean you avoid hard work or responsibility. Joseph didn't become second in command by luck. He used the skills and wisdom God gave him. The woman reached out in faith and took action. Divine acceleration comes when your faith and God's power meet. You do your part by preparing, praying, and persevering, and God does His part by moving powerfully and swiftly on your behalf. When divine acceleration happens in your life, it will be unmistakable. People will notice the sudden change. You will see doors open that were previously closed. Problems will resolve in unexpected ways. Opportunities will arise that align perfectly with your purpose. This kind of acceleration leaves no doubt that God is involved. It turns your story from one of delay and disappointment into a testimony of God's power and faithfulness. So if you feel like you've been stuck in a long season of struggle, hold on to the truth that divine acceleration is real. Your breakthrough can come suddenly and miraculously. God can transform your years of waiting into days of victory. Trust in His timing, keep your faith alive, and prepare for the moment when He moves swiftly to fulfill His promises in your life. Remember, God is never too late and never too slow. He is always right on time, ready to accelerate your destiny and bring you into your breakthrough. Divine acceleration is a powerful and remarkable reality that many experience but few fully understand. It is the supernatural intervention of God that transforms long seasons of struggle, waiting, and hardship into sudden moments of triumph and victory. This acceleration defies human logic and expectation, revealing that God's timing is perfect and His power unlimited. The Bible offers us vivid examples of this truth, demonstrating how God can suddenly shift circumstances, change destinies, and bring about miracles that seem impossible to the natural eye. These stories encourage us to hold on to hope and trust that what feels like a slow journey can be dramatically altered in an instant by divine power. Take the story of Joseph as a prime example. For years, Joseph suffered injustice. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused of a crime, and thrown into prison. His life seemed to be marked by failure and despair. But despite these challenges, Joseph remained faithful and trusted God's promises. Then, in a moment that changed everything, Pharaoh had a troubling dream that no one could interpret. Joseph was called from the depths of the prison to interpret the dream, and because of his wisdom and God's favor, he was promoted to the second most powerful position in Egypt. What could have taken decades of climbing the social or political ladder happened suddenly because God intervened with divine acceleration. Joseph's years of suffering were transformed overnight into a season of abundance and leadership. This sudden change teaches us that no matter how long the wait or how difficult the path, God can instantly shift our circumstances. The breakthrough might come when we least expect it, yet precisely when it is most needed. Divine acceleration doesn't mean the struggle was wasted. Rather, it means that God's timing is impeccable and that He is working all things together for good. It assures us that our moments of waiting are simply preparation for a moment of breakthrough that is much greater than we can imagine. Another powerful example is the woman with the issue of blood. She had been suffering for 12 years, spending all her resources trying to find healing, but without success. Despite her long and painful journey, she did not give up hope. When she heard about Jesus, she reached out and touched the hem of His garment, believing that just one touch would heal her. Immediately, she was made whole. 12 years of illness and pain were healed in a single instant. This story highlights the incredible reality that sometimes a lifetime of struggle can be erased in a moment by God's power. It encourages us to believe that healing, restoration, and breakthrough can come suddenly when faith meets God's grace. These biblical accounts are not simply historical narratives. They are powerful reminders that the same God who moved swiftly in the lives of Joseph and the woman with the issue of blood is still at work today. Divine acceleration is available to anyone who trusts in God's timing and remains faithful through the waiting season. It shows us that God's power to transform lives is not limited by human schedules or expectations. When God decides to act, He can compress years of waiting into moments of victory, making the impossible possible. Divine acceleration often comes after a season of preparation and faithfulness. It is not about rushing God or forcing a breakthrough, but about remaining steadfast and trusting that He is working behind the scenes. Sometimes God uses waiting to develop our character, strengthen our faith, or align us with His perfect plan. Then, when the moment is right, He moves with such speed and power that everything changes suddenly. This teaches us the importance of patience and trust, knowing that God's timing is always best, even when it feels delayed. The grace that enables divine acceleration is extraordinary. It is not only about receiving blessings, but about experiencing God's favor that propels us beyond our natural limitations. This favor opens doors, creates opportunities, and brings about success that we could never achieve on our own. Divine acceleration is a demonstration of God's supernatural involvement in our lives, showing that He is actively working to fulfill His promises in ways that go beyond our understanding. One key aspect of divine acceleration is that it requires our cooperation through faith and action. Joseph did not become a leader by passively waiting. He used his gifts and wisdom while trusting God's plan. The woman reached out in faith, taking a step that led to her healing. This tells us that while God's power is sovereign, we also have a role to play in positioning ourselves for breakthrough. Our faith, obedience, and readiness prepare the way for God to move swiftly on our behalf. When divine acceleration occurs, it is often unmistakable. The sudden change is visible and undeniable. People around us notice the shift. The obstacles that once seemed insurmountable are removed, and new opportunities appear. This kind of acceleration turns our stories from ones of delay and difficulty into testimonies of God's incredible power and faithfulness. It changes our perspective, strengthens our faith, and inspires others who witness these transformations. If you are currently in a season of waiting or struggle, divine acceleration offers hope and encouragement. It reminds you that your breakthrough is not far off and that God can move faster than you think. Years of hardship can be reversed in a moment, and God's plans for your life can unfold suddenly and powerfully. Trust that God's timing is perfect and that He is preparing to bring about a miraculous change. Keep believing, stay faithful, and get ready to experience the extraordinary reality of divine acceleration in your life. Expect the unexpected. This is not just a hopeful phrase, but a vital mindset for anyone seeking a sudden breakthrough. Life often moves in ways we do not anticipate, especially when God is involved. Breakthroughs rarely come on our schedule or in the form we imagine. Instead, they arrive suddenly, sometimes catching us off guard, disrupting our routines, and defying our plans. To be ready for these moments, we must cultivate a mindset of faith and readiness, a way of thinking that prepares us to receive the miraculous even before it manifests. Living with expectancy means more than just hoping for good things. It requires a deep conviction that God is at work behind the scenes, moving in ways that we cannot yet see. It means refusing to be limited by past disappointments or current difficulties. Instead of settling for what seems possible based on what we have experienced so far, we begin to think bigger. We open our hearts and minds to the possibility that God can do more than we have ever dreamed. This kind of faith stretches beyond logic or circumstances. It is a bold declaration that we believe in God's power to transform our situations suddenly and completely. Prayer plays a crucial role in developing this expectancy. When we pray boldly, we are not simply asking for small improvements or easy fixes. We are asking God to move in ways that only He can. Bold prayers challenge our own limitations and invite God's limitless power to intervene. They reflect confidence in His ability to do the impossible and a willingness to receive whatever He chooses to give. Through prayer, we align our hearts with God's will and prepare ourselves to embrace the unexpected ways He might answer. Being ready also means living in a state of preparedness. Sudden breakthroughs often require us to act quickly when opportunities arise. Just as a farmer waits patiently through the seasons but must be ready to harvest at the right time, we must be vigilant and prepared. This might mean sharpening our skills, cultivating relationships, or simply maintaining a hopeful attitude even in difficult times. Readiness involves both practical and spiritual preparation. Spiritually, it means nurturing our faith and trusting that God's promises are true. Practically, it means positioning ourselves in places and circumstances where God can use us. Expecting the unexpected also challenges us to let go of control. Often we want to know every detail of how and when a breakthrough will happen. We want to plan it out perfectly so we feel secure. But God's plans are often surprising because they transcend our understanding. When we cling too tightly to our own ideas, we might miss the miracle unfolding right before us. Embracing the unexpected means surrendering our need for control and trusting that God's ways are higher than ours. It is an invitation to be flexible and open to new possibilities. Many biblical heroes modeled this mindset of expecting the unexpected. Abraham left his homeland without knowing where he was going, trusting God's promise of a great nation. Moses faced an impossible task to lead a people out of slavery, relying on God to open the way. David faced giants and armies with nothing but faith in a sling, confident that God's power was greater than any obstacle. Each of these stories shows that sudden breakthroughs are often preceded by a willingness to step into the unknown with faith and readiness. In our own lives, we can adopt this same posture. We can choose to live boldly, refusing to be paralyzed by fear or doubt. We can think bigger than our current situation suggests and pray with confidence that God will move on our behalf. We can prepare ourselves spiritually and practically so when the moment of breakthrough arrives, we are not caught off guard but are ready to receive and act. Expecting the unexpected does not mean ignoring reality or being reckless. It means holding a tension between faith and reason, hope and patience. It means trusting God's promises even when the evidence seems contrary. It means believing that sudden breakthroughs are possible and that God's timing is perfect. When we live with this mindset, we invite God's miraculous power into our everyday lives and position ourselves to experience transformations that go beyond natural explanation. Ultimately, expecting the unexpected is an act of faith that honors God's sovereignty. It acknowledges that He is the author of our stories and that His plans are far greater than ours. It prepares us to celebrate when breakthroughs come suddenly, knowing that they are gifts from a loving and powerful God who delights in surprising us with His goodness. By thinking bigger, praying bolder, and living with expectancy, we align ourselves with the divine rhythm of miracles and open the door for God to do in days what might otherwise take years. Faithfulness precedes fulfillment. This is a principle woven throughout the fabric of spiritual life and experience. Before a promise is fulfilled or a breakthrough is realized, there is often a period of waiting, testing, and preparation. God frequently moves quickly and powerfully on behalf of those who have remained steadfast and faithful during the slow seasons of life. The consistency of prayer, trust, and obedience positions believers to receive sudden favor and acceleration that might otherwise seem impossible. Many people want immediate results. They desire quick answers and rapid progress, but God's timing often includes periods of apparent delay. These slow seasons are not wasted or meaningless. Rather, they serve as a crucial time of growth and refinement. Faithfulness during these times is like watering seeds beneath the surface, trusting that unseen roots are growing strong even though no sprout has yet appeared. The spiritual discipline of remaining faithful in prayer, maintaining trust in God's goodness, and continuing in obedience, even when circumstances seem stagnant, is what prepares the way for fulfillment. Prayer is the lifeline of faithfulness. When you consistently communicate with God, you remain connected to His power and presence. This connection strengthens your faith and keeps your heart aligned with His will. Persistent prayer in slow seasons is not a sign of doubt, but a declaration of dependence. It is an act of faith that says, I trust you even when I don't see the outcome. This kind of faithful prayer often precedes God's rapid movement. It positions you to recognize and receive His blessings when they come. Trust is another essential element. Trusting God means believing that He is good, that He is working, even when you can't see it, and that His promises are sure. Trusting during waiting seasons requires courage and perseverance because human nature leans toward anxiety and discouragement when results are delayed. Yet God honors those who put their confidence in Him. He delights in rewarding faithfulness with favor. When you remain trustworthy in your relationship with God, He can entrust you with greater things and bring about sudden breakthroughs. Obedience is the foundation of faithfulness. It means walking in God's ways, even when it's hard or inconvenient. Sometimes the slow season tests our willingness to obey when the path is unclear or the blessings seem distant. But obedience keeps us aligned with God's plan. It demonstrates our love and reverence for Him. Many biblical stories show that obedience is what positions individuals for sudden favor. For example, Noah faithfully obeyed God's instructions to build the ark for years before the flood came. His faithfulness during a long waiting period was the prerequisite for salvation and the start of a new era. Faithfulness during slow seasons builds character, patience, and resilience. It strengthens your spirit and refines your understanding of God's nature. This period of endurance cultivates humility, dependence, and a deeper relationship with God. When fulfillment finally arrives, it is often more meaningful because it has been earned through steadfast commitment. The breakthrough is sweeter and the blessings more cherished because they come after a season of faithful waiting. Sudden favor is not random or accidental. It is the result of God's faithfulness meeting human faithfulness. When you have demonstrated consistent loyalty to God through prayer, trust, and obedience, you position yourself for His swift and powerful intervention. It is like being ready at the right place and the right time when opportunity knocks. You become a vessel prepared to carry the fullness of God's blessing. The Bible provides many examples of this principle. Joseph's faithfulness in prison, Daniel's unwavering devotion in exile, and Job's steadfast trust amid suffering all preceded remarkable turnarounds. Each story reveals that God honors those who do not give up. He rewards perseverance with breakthroughs that can come suddenly and change lives dramatically. In practical terms, faithfulness means continuing to do what God has called you to do, even when you don't see immediate results. It means being diligent in your work, consistent in your spiritual disciplines, and patient in your expectations. It means trusting God's timing and refusing to quit or become discouraged. Faithfulness is a choice, one you make every day, and it is that choice that positions you for fulfillment. When God moves quickly, it often surprises us because we expect delays or setbacks. But for those who have been faithful, sudden favor feels like a natural extension of their commitment. It is a recognition that God has been working all along, preparing the way, and that the breakthrough is now ready to manifest. Ultimately, faithfulness precedes fulfillment because God desires a relationship, not just a quick fix. He wants to develop us, teach us, and draw us closer to Him. The slow seasons are opportunities for spiritual growth and preparation for greater things. When we remain faithful, we honor God's process and demonstrate our trust in His perfect plan. So if you find yourself in a slow season, remember that faithfulness is the key that unlocks sudden favor. Stay consistent in prayer, maintain your trust, and continue to obey God's leading. Your faithfulness is positioning you for fulfillment. The breakthrough is coming, and when it does, it will be a powerful testimony of God's faithfulness and your steadfastness. Keep pressing forward because God is preparing to move swiftly on your behalf, doing in days what might otherwise take years. When God decides to move on your behalf, his intervention is unmistakable. The breakthrough that follows is so swift, so complete, and so transformative that no one can deny the hand of God in the situation. It is not just a small improvement or a subtle change. It is a monumental shift that surpasses anything you could have planned or imagined. The nature of God's move is always beyond human expectation, leaving a lasting impact that points directly to his power and glory. Many people long for breakthroughs, but sometimes those breakthroughs come quietly or partially, making it easy to attribute success to human effort alone. However, when God moves in his divine time,